Welcome to YOUCANIC. In this video we're going to go over the steps on how to replace this turn signal switch and also the wiper switch if you need to. On a Mazda here we have a 2016 Mazda 3. Procedure is going to be very similar for other Mazdas as well, so you'll get an idea what it takes, at least know the procedure on how you replace it. Luckily in this vehicle you can replace just that or just that switch. You don't have to replace both at the same time if one is working and the other is not. So if your turn signals are not working but the wipers are working, you can just replace that. So what you want to do is park the vehicle and make sure the wheels are pointing straight forward. Okay, so the steering wheel is on center. That's very important. Then once you do that, you come here, you want to leave the ignition on. You don't have to, car needs to be off, but ignition can be in the position 1 where the steering wheel is unlocked. Once you do that, you go ahead, locate the battery in the engine bay and disconnect the negative terminal so that there's no issues. No, you're working with an airbag here, and you always should disconnect that battery. So once you disconnect the battery, wait 3 minutes, and then you come inside here, press the airbag a couple of times to ensure all current in the vehicle is completely discharged. And then once you do that, the next thing is to remove the airbag. And to remove the airbag, what you'll need is you'll need a flathead screwdriver. And then now we do have other videos that go into details on how to perform these steps, so I'm going to go a little bit quick here. But what you do here is you come with a screwdriver at the back of the airbag. You see this hole right here? You come right there, not this, but this right here. You come there and then you press this way away, and that what that does is it releases the airbag. You have a hole here and you have a hole at the other side. Okay, so your steering wheel, basically you have a hole back here, a hole back here, and a hole there. So those three will allow you to release the airbag. You need a short flathead screwdriver, not too short, but so this is the perfect size here. So once you release the airbag, then you need to handle that with care for once, but you need to disconnect these electric connectors on the back. There's this black piece here that needs to be popped out. They don't need to be completely removed. Be careful because they can just fly out or break, so be careful with that. But once you pop this out, then you can grab the connector and pull it away from the airbag. Then put the airbag on the rear seat or maybe on the floor, just somewhere that nobody's going to touch it, and it's going to be safe, because if that airbag does deploy while you're working on it, it can cause injuries and death. So be careful with that. But once you do have removed the airbag, next we need to remove this 21mm bolt right here at the center. You need somebody to counter hold the steering wheel while you break and loose that bolt there. And when then you reinstall it, that bolt needs to be torqued, ideally replaced, and thread locker. You need to use thread locker on that. That cannot come off while you're driving, so that's very important. The bolt is off, then you take a marker, make a line there, and a line at 12 and a line at 3. And this is important, that's why I said you need to have the wheels pointing straight forward. But again, since we moved the steering wheel left and right, and got this bottom hole and this one, two on the sides here to release the airbag, make sure you bring the steering wheel back in center, wheels are pointing back forward, and then mark it there and there. So now you're 12 and 3 o'clock, then we can remove it. But now we'll be able to put the steering wheel back in the exact same location, so we're not gonna have any issues. Now here's the clock spring. With this you need to be careful, don't rotate the clock spring and bring it back over there, because that's gonna cause damage. A week or two after you put it back, that ribbon gets too stretched and then breaks. So be careful with this, don't turn this around. So the next thing is we have this plastic trim, top and bottom. It separates right here, but this lower piece has two screws. One is right here and one is right here. They're Phillips screws. You just remove them from the bottom, you pull them off, and then you separate this. It requires a little bit of force to just pop this and separate this like in two halves, like so. The upper part can stay there, the lower part we can put away. Now right here we have the clock spring. Again, with the clock spring, you gotta be careful. We don't want to rotate this around. We have a clip right here at the top that unlocks the top. You have one here on the side here, and we have another here on this side, and that's it. Clock spring comes off. Now we have these connectors. You need to press here and then pull this off. With this yellow connector, this is the airbag connector, you need to pull on this black part right here, pull on that black part, and then pull the connector away. But that allows you to take the clock spring and put it somewhere and make sure, again, it's not going to rotate. So I'm going to put it right there. And right here we have the switches. We have the right switch and the left switch. On the right we got the wipers, and on the left we have the headlight, the turn signal switch. So this part is very easy. So what you gotta do is you take a flathead screwdriver right here at the center right here, press there, okay, and that unlocks it, and you pull this off, and that's it. You can see this connects right there. You take the new one and you slide it back in, and that's it. The same thing you're going to do for a turn signal. Again, you don't have to replace them both at the same time, but if you have to, you press there, that unlocks, and then you pull this. Okay, that's it. That's the turn signal. Okay, so we put that back in until you hear that click, and that's it. Now we're going to put back the clock spring, and being careful to not get this rotate 360, because it might look fine, but it won't be. Line this up. Before I line it up, I'm going to reconnect these connectors here. Just a little bit easier, and they're long enough that I can put the clock spring back on. Alright. Okay, so that goes back in there. Now what we need to do, we check these connectors here, they are fine. We take the lower trim, make sure that you come above the steering wheel lever here that allows you to adjust it. Otherwise these two hubs are not going to line up properly. Okay. Now if these pieces don't go exactly flash or where they need to go, what's going to happen is you're going to put the steering wheel in and you're going to hear rubbing noise, and that's usually where that comes from. It's from these pieces not lining up. Okay, so you hear that, so that locked in place, but we have two screws down here that we need to put in, so I have to do those. But also we got to put the steering wheel goes right through. First we put the wires through it, okay, and I say when we put this back in, this is where we mark this so that we can put it exactly where it was. You can see it marked there and that marked there. We reconnect this electrical connector here, and then we need to torque this to spec, reconnect the airbag, the horn wire. Make sure if you don't connect that, your horn is not going to work. These, reconnect them or press the center piece there to lock them in place, and then press the airbag right in. Make sure you torque that and use some thread locker on the threads of that bolt, and that's it. It's straightforward. It can save you a lot of money. You need to be very extremely careful, especially while you handle that airbag, because if it does deploy while you're working on it, you can cause serious injuries and even death. But that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.